Joseph Thomas Kaeble, VCMM, was a Canadian soldier. Kaeble was a recipient of the Victoria Cross, the highest and most prestigious award for gallantry in the face of the enemy that can be awarded to British and Commonwealth forces. He was the first French-Canadian soldier to be decorated with the VCN military medal. Biography. He was born on 5 May 1892 in Saint-Moise, Quebec. He joined the Canadian Expeditionary Force in March 1916. Kaeble was a corporal in the 22E Battalion, CEF, during the First World War. On 8 June 1918 at Neuville-Vertas, France, Kaeble performed an act of bravery for which he was awarded the Victoria Cross. He died whilst doing so. Citation for most conspicuous bravery and extraordinary devotion to duty when in charge of a Lewis gun sectioned in the front-line trench, in which a strong enemy raid was attempted. During an intense bombardment, Corporal Kaeble remained at the parapet with his Lewis gun shouldered ready for action, the field of fire being very short. As soon as the barrage lifted from the front line, about 50 of the enemy advanced towards his post. By this time the whole of his section except one had become casualties. Corporal Kaeble jumped over the parapet, and holding his Lewis gun at the hip, emptied one magazine after another into the advancing enemy, and although wounded several times by fragments of shells and bombs, he continued to fire and entirely blocked the enemy by his determined stand. Finally, firing all the time, he fell backwards into the trench, mortally wounded. While lying on his back in the trench, he fired his last cartridges over the parapet at the retreating Germans, and before losing consciousness shouted to the wounded about him, "Keep it up, boys. Do not let them get through. We must stop them." The complete repulse of the enemy attack at this point was due to the remarkable personal bravery and self-sacrifice of this gallant, non-commissioned officer, who died of his wounds shortly afterwards. Transported to hospital, Corporal Joseph Kaeble died of his wounds the next night, the 9th of June. Burial and legacy. He was buried in the local cemetery in Wantagh, some 7 miles west of Arras. At CFB Valcartier, honours to Kaeble include Mount Kaeble, just east of Camp Vimy, a street on the base, and the Kaeble Club, the Privates and Corporals Mess. On February 10, 2011, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans announced that the 9 new vessels in a new class of midshore patrol vessels would be named the Hero Class patrol vessels. The second of the new vessels was named CCGS Caporal Kaeble VC, and was presented to the Coast Guard on November 13, 2012.